Am I the jerk for purchasing a used car? This is so stupid, but so many people are against me on this that I've come to Reddit for a sanity check. The only people fully on my side are my older brother and his wife. I'm moving from Chicago to Los Angeles for my first job. I'll be commuting 100 miles round trip for work from my mom's place, where she is very kindly letting me live. I will obviously need to purchase a car. I do not care what I drive. All I care is that the car is fuel efficient, reliable, and any issues can be fixed relatively inexpensively. In undergraduate school, I leased a Prius C and loved it. As it meets all my requirements and is very competitively priced, I've decided to purchase a used model. I've been a graduate student and postdoctoral researcher for the last 6 years and have no savings, so I was planning to finance it. I told my mom my plan and she insisted that she would just pay for it out of pocket and I could pay her back to avoid paying interest. The car I plan to buy is a 2016 Prius C with 99,000 miles for $16,000 plus taxes and fees. With my salary, I should be able to pay her back in 6 months, 4 if I'm really aggressive. I am incredibly fortunate to have a parent who is willing and able to support me in this way. I am incredibly grateful that my mom is offering me this money and essentially saving me about $6,000. The problem is my mom and all of her friends think my car choice is a mistake. Most of them think I should get a new car because a doctor shouldn't be driving a used car. This is a cyanide to me. I grew up poor and financial insecurity scares the living daylights out of me. The idea of spending tens of thousands of dollars more than I need to on a car when I have no savings just for the sake of appearances makes me want to vomit. There were a ton of other reasons her friends gave for why a used Prius C was a horrible idea, ranging from silly to downright idiotic, but I've held firm in wanting to purchase it. For what it's worth, my mom has assured me that she trusts my judgment and will happily give me the money for whichever car I think is best. That being said, my mom has also made it clear that she'd prefer I buy a newer model with less mileage on it. I've tried to explain to her that Priuses are some of the most reliable and durable cars out there. Everyone I know who has a Prius has driven it until it had well over 250,000 miles on it. It's a Toyota, for God's sake. Some of my mom's friends have implied that it's humiliating for my mom to have her doctor daughter be seen driving a nearly 10-year-old budget car. So Reddit, am I the asshole? You behaved properly. Your money, your decision, and your car. If your mom's friends want you to get a new car that badly, tell them to buy you one. Honestly, it's not about what you can and can't afford. It's about how you sort your expenses. None of this should be anyone's business but yours. Am I the jerk for not making my only sibling my maid of honor? I, 26-year-old female, just got engaged to my longtime partner, 27-year-old male. We got engaged on a holiday in Europe, which was super romantic. I called my sister, 23-year-old female, a couple of hours later to tell her the exciting news. She did not say congratulations, but simply said, "I knew you'd get married before me," in the most monotone voice possible. My sister has always undermined any achievement or happy news of mine since we were young, so this reaction didn't surprise me. My fiancé thinks that she is probably upset because our engagement is not about her and she loves attention. This happened about 2 months ago, and since then, my fiancé and I have started to make wedding plans. I decided to make my best friend, 25-year-old female, my maid of honor. Although we have only been friends for 18 months, we have been by each other's sides through some horrible incidents at work as well as in our personal lives. My best friend was also incredibly happy about our engagement news, which was obviously the complete opposite reaction from my sister. I told my parents that I am making my best friend my maid of honor, and they were not too pleased that I chose someone I have known for a year over someone I have known my whole life, my sister. I explained that not only has my friend been by my side through some tough situations, which my parents are aware of, but she was actually happy for me, whereas my sister was not. My dad is okay with this, but my stepmom thinks I am very selfish for not choosing my own sister to be maid of honor. My sister found out a couple of days later. My stepmom told her, even though I asked her not to. I wanted to tell my sister myself, and she is livid. She also thinks I am incredibly selfish and asks how I could possibly do this to her. She called me horrible and started crying, saying she would never do this to me. I find this typical of my sister and manipulative because she always does this, cries and blames whenever something doesn't go her way. Also important, my sister currently lives on the other side of the country. She has told me she will fly home for the wedding but will obviously not be here for other parts of the wedding, including dress shopping and the bachelorette party. Am I the asshole for not making my sister my maid of honor? You did nothing to deserve criticism. It's your wedding and you get to choose who stands up for you. Your sister is acting entitled and doesn't even live nearby to fulfill the maid of honor duties. Maybe assign a close friend to handle her during the wedding so she doesn't cause problems. Your wedding party should be filled with people who love and support you, not someone causing unnecessary drama. Am I the jerk for snapping at my roommate after they had been snapping at me all evening? I have lived with my roommate, who is 32 years old, for a few years now, and we get along great for the most part until there's something we have to do together. When we cook dinner together, she gets frustrated if I do not do something exactly the way she wants it done. When we play video games together and I make a mistake, she also gets frustrated, especially when it involves something she is good at. She even gets frustrated when I cannot hear her properly, even though she knows I have a bit of a hearing problem. Today we got a TV stand that she wanted to help me put together. I was already holding in some frustration because of other incidents earlier. For example, I put out a bowl filled with water by the sidewalk for any passing animals, and when I saw that it was stolen, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm sorry, that sucks," she said, "Well, what did you think was going to happen?" Later, while we were playing a game, I almost slipped us up, and she sighed and said, "I'm so glad this isn't real life," despite the fact we had to restart the level twice because of her. I tried to brush all that off because that is just how she is. But then it was time to put the TV stand together. Normally, it wouldn't have taken as long with me working on it by myself, especially since this stand was the simplest thing I've had to put together in a while. But when I was trying to get everything ready and organized, the screws, washers, tools, and pieces of the stand, it took longer because my roommate kept taking the instruction manual away from me without asking. Even after I finally got everything together, I couldn't start because she kept taking the manual away from me. We finally put it together, and then it was time to attach it to the TV. When I tried to get started, she made me stop and take an extra 10 minutes to look over the screws in the back of the TV. Without even trying any of the screws the box came with, she was ready to give up and said, "I don't think any of these are going to work." I asked why she thought that, especially since we hadn't even tried any of the provided screws yet, but she wouldn't give a straight answer. Finally, I just took one of the screws and put it into the back of the TV, showing that it fit. My frustration finally showed when she asked for the wrong screw size and snapped at me for giving her the screw she asked for. She told me I was starting to tick her off because of how I was acting, and as calmly as I could, I told her that handiwork to me was like her working in the kitchen. It's my thing, and I do things a certain way. I even apologized for snapping at her. She said I couldn't claim handiwork as my domain since we use the kitchen every day. I felt bad the rest of the night for snapping at her. Am I the asshole? She sounds exhausting, and honestly, why are you even living together? It doesn't sound friendly at all. More like a toxic situation. She seems like a bit of a nasty person, and it's hard to see why anyone would put up with being treated that way. Maybe it's time to look for a new roommate. Am I the jerk for not inviting a family member to my wedding? I, a 26-year-old female, and my partner, a 30-year-old male, are getting married. I do not want to invite his friend Kate to the wedding. Ever since I have met her, she has made me very uncomfortable. I have given her multiple chances, probably more than I should have, and now I do not wish to talk to her or see her. She ruins my mood every time I see her. The very first time we met, we were at a restaurant. She waited until he went to the bathroom and said to me, "In case you were wondering, we have never slept together," which I thought was an odd comment to make. We went on vacation with her once in Vegas. She lied about bringing a friend with her, ended up coming alone, and made it a third wheel situation. In the hotel, she started talking about her boob tape on her outfit and proceeded to flash us her breasts, which I thought was completely inappropriate and made me uncomfortable. On the same trip, she also kept insisting that my fiancé was burning from the sun and that she should rub sunscreen on him. He kept saying he was okay without it, and she kept insisting he needed it, even though I was there and completely capable of putting it on him, or he could put it on himself. Another instance is that she has sent us Snapchat messages at the same time, so I know she sent him a bikini picture. She has made comments about performing oral sex on men and making them climax quickly in front of us both. All of this makes me incredibly uncomfortable. When they were in high school, he was her graduation date. When we first started dating, he said his ex-girlfriend did not like Kate either. I take this as a sign she has always been this inappropriate. During COVID-19, she wanted us to skip our PCR testing that my partner and I needed to get home on a flight and just have her get hers done. When we have met her for drinks, she has been 30 to 60 minutes late on many occasions, which I find incredibly disrespectful. On her birthday, my partner accidentally left his phone at her apartment. She refused to let us go back and get it and returned to the restaurant. She then did not return his phone for days, which I also found disrespectful. He seems to be blinded by all her actions. I have become fed up. We ended up moving across the country, so I have had an amazing time never having to see her for 2 years. Before we left, I refused to see her because I could not stand her. My partner says I am the reason he is not as close with his friend. Now he wants to invite her to the wedding. I know it will absolutely ruin my day. So, am I the asshole for saying I will not be attending the wedding if she will be there? You are not in the wrong here. Why is your fiancé friends with someone so disrespectful to you and your relationship? It's too bad your fiancé doesn't realize that she's probably both into him and an attention-seeking weirdo. Either way, she'll find a way to make it about her at your wedding. It seems like it is time for a talk with him about why she shouldn't come to the wedding. Am I the jerk for reconnecting with my childhood best friend? I had a childhood best friend who was 2 years older than me, named Mark. Since we both lived abroad and had the same ethnicity, our parents were friends. Mark and I were very close while growing up. Unfortunately, I had a crush on him for years without knowing his true feelings. Mark moved away and returned to our home country when we were younger. Shortly after, I had to return to our home country too. During this time, we were still entering puberty. I had the biggest crush on him, but he was always dating, so I never confessed. When I moved back to our home country, I had severe depression. Since I was young, it was uncontrollable and painful for everyone around me. However, I was only calm with him. I was 13 years old and he was the only source of support I had. Whenever I had suicidal tendencies, he would help me. I was overwhelming and always on the verge of self-harm, which was unhealthy for both of us. During that period, he introduced me to his friends, where I met a boy that I used to get over, Mark. I dated him for a long time. I got closer to all of his friends and opened up about my troubled mind to all of them. It was not fun since they were all older than I was, but it gave me the reality check I needed. My relationship with the boy was fine until my father found out. Coming from a very conservative family with a strict father, I received a severe scolding and had to cut off contact with everyone and change my number. After that, I was still in contact with Mark for a few months through texts. I felt like I ruined his friendships with the others with my behavior, and we eventually lost contact completely. That was 3 years ago. I have since become healthy and stable-minded. I used to check on him occasionally, being afraid to reach out and feeling guilty. A few months ago, I had the courage to apologize for everything in a long text. He was fine with it, and I can't thank him enough. Today I met him and his family accidentally. I was so awkward and terrified. I hung out with them a little bit and tried not to be awkward. He seemed fine and kept talking to me normally, which I was grateful for. I tried to ease the tension by talking to his younger sister, cousin, and brother. I took his contact information and social media again. I feel very bad about my past actions. I was really out of it and depressed, and it was terrifying to be around me. I am too scared to do anything, but I can't help but want to return to how things used to be. What can I do? I'm worried and feel like I'm burdening him again. I'm also scared that he might tell his friends, who probably hated me for cutting contact with all of them, including my ex. Your post was removed because it exceeds the 3,000 character limit. Please consider resubmitting a briefer post. You will need to post it again. We cannot approve the removed post if you edit it. Read our rules in full before attempting to repost. Am I the jerk for ignoring my parent after they said I should pray for their death? I am a 25-year-old female who lives with my parents and I help with rent and bills. This is primarily why I don't leave, so I'll be of help to them. I also work from home, so I can get caught up in my head at times and need some peace and quiet. On Monday evening, I went to take a walk around 7:30 p.m. after having some dinner. On Tuesday, I felt like taking a walk again after dinner, and my mother shouted at me. She was shouting nonstop, asking who goes out at this time and why do I have to go. I didn't interrupt her once while she was ranting and I said, okay, I will stay home. That's fine. I went to my room and went on my computer. She came in and said I could go now, but by then it was 9 p.m. and I told her I didn't want to go anymore. She kept going back and forth, asking why I didn't want to go now since she had given me permission. I finished some work on the computer and went to take a walk. By then my mom was already asleep. While I was outside, I saw a man get run over by a car. It was such a horrific accident. The man's face was bleeding non-stop and he wasn't able to get up. All the cars and nearby individuals who saw it stopped to help. I went to help also. I felt so terrible seeing such a thing happen right in front of me. I gave the man water and we waited for the ambulance to come. While I was waiting for the ambulance to arrive, my mom called me. She did not ask where I was. She simply started yelling and shouting for 8 minutes straight. I didn't interrupt until she let me speak. Once I told her I came to walk, she started calling me all sorts of things. I let her express herself more as she wished. I told her she could have just called me and asked where I was. It is as simple as that. On Wednesday, I picked my mom up from work, and her attitude and energy was disgusting me. I told her I'll be going out to the library to relax. I really do get tired of being home all day since working from home can have its cons, especially when your mother sees you as a child. I decided I don't want to come home until my brother comes home or she falls asleep because I am tired of the verbal abuse. At 6:30 p.m., she called me multiple times and, as expected, the first thing she did was yell and shout at me nonstop. I told her I was going to the library to relax. She then started crying and asked me to pick up $10,000 for her since she'll be leaving. She used to pull these moves on me before to see a reaction, but it doesn't work anymore. I asked her to calm down. Telling her to stay calm made it worse. She called me back to back until I had to turn my phone off. I started having anxiety about going back into the house. I called her back shortly and she said that I should pray for her death. She said I deserve to see her die soon. Once I got home, I didn't have the money, so she started verbally abusing me again. Am I the asshole? I just don't care anymore. In my opinion, you have done nothing wrong here. Your mom is being verbally abusive and emotionally manipulative. It might be time to find your own place, or this will be your life. Moving out and muting her calls could be a good step for your mental health. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.